2 or 3 different people that I've talked to out there now. They get something like that, they call. One guy said, I got ready to get rid of my furniture, so I called him for that, and we hauled it to his house, and he kept it.
Oh, scrapper.
Yeah, someone wanted to take him a lawnmower, and I'm like, yeah, get a hold of him. Then I drove by today, I'm like, well, no, call him. Over there.
That was really,
I heard he was gonna.
Who moved? I
that was
think
really
Stanton, Sheridan, somewhere over that
That
area.
was such a
Huh,
convenience, they
that's
had
too
everything
bad.
set up by the road and just disappeared.
Well, when I drove by there on Sunday, I
I
was like,
took a
there's
washer
no
out
way.
one day. Took a washer outside one day and I was heading up to the party store and he was out in the yard, so I pulled up to say, I got a washer out in front of my house if you want it. He was alright. I went in the party store, left the party store, got back down here, already had it loaded in the truck.
Perfect.
You know, that really sucks, 'cause I got a monster weight machine I tore all apart out of the basement. It's sitting in the pole barn. I was gonna give him to haul away.
You're a day late and a dollar short.
Unless somebody wants it, it's a great weight machine.
Get
Just put it back
Brucey.
together.
Brucey will take it.
Yeah, Brucey's trying
Was
to
he
take over.
taking over now?
Is he? Oh,
Him and Steve were kinda in.
Whatever, pull the water heater off.
that'll work. I don't care who takes it, as long as I can get it out of there.
Got the new water heater.
It's a really good one, though. Somebody wanted to put it back together. I got all the books and everything for it. I just had to tear it apart and get it out of
Literally,
it.
less than 10 minutes. You know what I mean? It's just amazing.
What else new and exciting? You gonna pay your water bill?
Yeah, I want to find out how come I'm using 8,000 gallons in 2 weeks of water.
Probably left the toilet on or something.
Shit, it hasn't been there.
It's probably running then.
No, it ain't running.
Well, you are,
Many
you
showers.
probably can't hear as well as you used to.
I got hearing aids just like you, I can hear now.
You can hear it drizzling?
No, it ain't drizzling.
You sure?
This is the first time I've done it, using
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell to do.
I tell you a story about a running toilet right across the road in the
Yeah,
party
and
store.
I'm looking for that letter.
They used a tremendous amount of water. It's kinda like when we told Kathy about that urinal was in the bar, well, 1 month you run it, but you better shut it off. That used 44,000 gallons.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
That running toilet at the party store, you was 27. As soon as we fixed that toilet, that was
I don't have no rubber.
maybe a
It's
white
not one of the
shower.
ones that we have to flush in the program, we can skip that right down to the end. But we usually try to run it at least once a year, just to run
Yeah.
down our maintenance, to make sure that everything's working. Now, most hydrants, there's 5 that we don't have to use in the program, and that's one of them.
But you got other ones down.
Because we got ones downstream that
Goes right past.
Yeah, it goes right past it. So, normally we use every hydrant twice a year. That one we try to run once a year.
So
It's
I
just one.
put every quarter, because I always guess I put down, whoops, once a year, maybe twice, once,
Yeah.
obviously, okay. Good deal.
That-
Where's the other hydrant? No, it's not on ours.
No, it's not on Casey.
That was not right out of there.
Gotcha.
Did the sewer bills go up this month? When did sewer bills go up?
October 1st.
No, he's not. I ain't got none, I ain't got it like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got anything around the house, water and flow, or anything?
No, hell no, I ain't.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got one around the house down there, that was 2,000 gallons
There
a
wasn't
night.
nobody home, that's what I'm
If I left
telling
it
you.
on.
There was nobody home.
Okay, we'll bring this meeting to order.
Get to that shit.
Alright,
We're going to turn your water out of the lake, you're gonna have to pay more of that.
not all the way.
Oh, yeah.
The meeting, minutes from the last meeting.
Yep.
A motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Second. Motion carried.
All in favor?
Oh, yeah, see, sorry. All in favor? Motion carried.
Opposed? I'm corrected this time, I didn't the last
I
time.
know, thank you. Okay, opposed? Motion carried.
There you go.
I'll get it. Approval, motion to approve the, accept the agenda?
Number 2 there, I know, talking with Charlie after the last
Which
meeting,
number? I'm sorry.
additions or corrections to the agenda.
Oh, okay.
In the July meeting, they had said something about putting something with the storm sewer. I don't know if it was misspoke or I thought they had said they just wanted it in the minutes, talking about maybe a possibility of grants to do some stormwater work. And Charlie had said that he thought that he was gonna be on the agenda for August, so I don't know if you guys have anything to talk about as far as the storm sewer
No.
this month?
No,
Okay.
not right now. We are due up for, they're gonna come out and check us out again, like mid-month, next month.
Okay.
And so, just with the storm sewer running under the building, I don't know if that's gonna raise any questions or not, but eventually it should be rerouted around,
Okay.
just because that no storm sewer has any business going under a building. And, so it doesn't need to be addressed right now. We just want it to be in everybody's mind that we need to start a discussion and maybe try and figure out how to write some grant requests, because it needs to be done.
Okay. Yeah, it was my understanding that we were just putting it on record that you had brought it to our attention at that time.
Right, that's kinda what I thought too, but I know,
Okay.
The, in the Spicer, when they done that, they couldn't get but so many feet, you said, from Glee Masters. Anyways, I think I know where the problem is, and I was hoping we could work together on, try to dig that up. 'Cause, I mean, I got a piece of machinery, we can try to, if you can give me some
From
footage
my house,
there.
you're talking?
What's that?
From my house going?
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm working with Spicer. There's so much stuff that they put in when they did that SAW grant. I can look up all the pictures and a ton of information, but all the live camera where you can watch the camera drive through the sewers and look at everything in real time, I can't figure out how to run that part of the, so I've put in a call to Spicer, and they're, I was hoping to hear from them late last week, but I didn't, so I'm gonna call them again tomorrow, have them come in and show me how to run that. It's on a portable hard drive. It's too much information to even put on the iPad. It's on a portable hard drive that hooks to my desktop computer. And I wanna look up that sewer that goes towards underneath Charlie's building from Jason's house at an angle up through there, and see what the footage is on that camera vehicle where they had to stop.
then I'll go ahead and dig it up with the excavator, and we can kinda work together and try to get it.
Most you're talking back towards your building.
Yeah, 'cause
It looks like there's probably a structure that the top might be broke off of that's just kinda washed in, and it might be completely shut down, and that could
Because
be
we have
possible.
water standing on the east side, just kind of standing within the building. So there were some drains that were routed down into that to begin with. Well, we'll cap those. There's a couple repairs that we need to do, because we have no business having that water go down in there. But it's not working, just for the
Yeah.
community, it's just not working. It's not going anywhere.
I'm not concerned about it west of me, but east of me, if it blocks completely off, all that water is gonna go in my building.
Well, and down there, at the bottom where used to be Trons, that's always got water standing.
That's part of this problem that we think we're having here. It's finding its way out on the ground there because of that complete block somewhere there.
4 or 5 years ago, in the wintertime, my building filled with water, and it froze, and it was bad.
So you're gonna go with Spicer's and see if we can figure
Yeah,
out that
we're
camera
still
footage
trying to
and
do
look
some
at that.
investigation to see where exactly it's at, and then
But if we could figure out where it is, I'll gladly dig it up and try to get it cleaned out, on the east side of my building. That would really be helpful, figure out where it's at.
Okay, we'll make that adjustment. Other than that, is there anything else for the agenda?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the transaction report?
Make a motion to approve the transaction report.
Second? Second by Jason. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Approval to pay the current bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the current bills.
Motion by Kathy,
I'll second it.
second by Jerry Lou. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? visitors, who would like to go first? Mr. Price?
Yeah, I wanna find out what's the difference between my commercial property and Charlie's commercial property,
Your
as
property's,
far as my trailer sitting down there.
your property's not listed as commercial.
Yes, it is. The only thing that isn't done on the commercial property part is the tax. They don't split that, so that's taken off from the other piece of property, so there's two taxes on it until January, they do it once a year. That's the only thing it isn't done. It's got its own, that 5 acres has got its own, numbers and, you know, property ID numbers, and there were two different property ID numbers.
You're talking about the letter that you gave to us, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I called down there to the tax guy, and that's the same way he explained it to me. The only thing that's gonna change is instead of me paying one set of taxes to you guys, in the fall, I'll pay two.
Correct, as far as splitting the properties, but,
It's already split. I already have the tax ID number,
yep, I
and it
understand
is
that,
commercial property right at this time.
Okay, when you got that letter sent, it wasn't commercial property, it was residential.
You need to get a letter from Zema that says they're gonna change the classification on that to commercial to go along with that land division.
I got one, I give it to him.
No, that didn't say, I read that one.
Yeah,
What
this-
does it say?
It
just
doesn't,
Well, I can get one from him,
Yeah.
because I
it
called
doesn't
him.
state that that is a commercial property, it just states that you split
Yeah,
that
get a letter
parcel
Get a
away
letter
from
And it
the,
says that the taxes will be split, and that's what it's what
Yeah,
it's
they
for.
only do that once a year.
And they're the only ones that can do the commercial property, because when, even the county, the township didn't know how the hell to change the commercial property. In fact, that man right there, Mr. Bleemaster, was right out there when I was talking to it on it.
Yep.
You can't,
They can't do it, but they have to do it down to St. John's to the tax thing.
correct.
The only thing I've gotta do is make sure all my taxes are paid. See,
Yeah.
that's the split parcel number right there.
Get a letter from these guys that says that 5.4 acres is going to be in a tax classification of commercial.
Okay, I can do
And then
that.
bring that.
yeah,
in.
cause
Okay.
this doesn't
And
state
your-
that,
and
so
your
if you
dilemma-
get
Yeah, I
something
can
that
do that.
says
Your
that,
dilemma will be over.
That's,
yes.
But you need to confirm that that's.
oh, I
tax
can do that,
commercial.
that's what I wanted to find out. Because I called down there and talked to them, so, you know, to make sure,
Unless you get a,
for them to explain to me what this, you know, what this was.
the other thing you're gonna have to do with that, before I might have misspoke myself, the other thing you're gonna have to do with that is you're gonna have to look at that ordinance. Because that ordinance states summer taxes of 2017, anything that was residential at that time, even if it's changed, still is under that ordinance.
What you're telling me, then I can pull it off there and then pull it back on as soon as I get this thing from, oh, why not?
No,
It's commercial property, you tell me I can't put a semi on that one after it's, will it be in commercial property?
that's the way that ordinance is written.
They don't say anything about that, Doug, I've got that ordinance
No, yes,
too.
it does. It's got a specific date in it that says.
I understand what
the
you're
s-
saying,
The summer taxes.
Yeah.
but then what you're telling me is that I can't use that piece of commercial property the same way Charlie can use his commercial property.
You're talking about Charlie's
Yes,
property down where his
yes,
business is?
or Shucks out here.
Charlie's was already, that was
I
already
understand that,
commercial down
I
there.
understand that, but if somebody else
That's why
comes,
he can.
if somebody else comes in here, like I said, I don't understand what you're telling me.
The ordinance is written that you can't, even if you take a residential piece of property and turn it to a, that's why you wanna get on the planning commission.
I've already thought of that one too.
It's on the agenda
Because
tonight.
that was part of the reasoning behind that
But
part of the ordinance.
I understand what
That'll
you're.
all be handled in the zoning, when they get the zoning done.
Mhm.
But at this point, it was just, they just put a stop to it.
Until that zoning is done, and then everything will be set away.
And everything should
Way
be
it should
settled
be.
at that time, once they come up with a master plan in town for the commercial and residential areas.
So then you're gonna rewrite that ordinance
So
then?
you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, what you're telling me don't make sense.
Well, it, what,
You know, I'm not
Well,
trying to argue with you, I'm
right,
just
no,
telling
no, I
you, that it don't
understand.
make sense.
Well,
The
it-
ordinance was put into place to put a cap on things until the zoning could be put in place.
I understand that, he told me that, that was one of the reasons I went and, done what I done to do, to begin with, because of what he told me.
yeah. And
He
that's-
probably don't wanna own up to that one, but he
That's-
did.
Oh, no, yeah, you're gonna get it done. But, that's the reasoning behind that. And then, yeah, obviously, once the master plan and everything is done, in the area they're zoned, obviously that will be retracted. I would be certain, I'm on the village anymore, but I would be certain that the village would retract that date out of that, once they have everything zoned. Because the zoning will take over everything.
You know, at that point, zoning will take over the
Ordinance.
ordinance, because it won't be done by tax classification anymore, it'll be done by
Yeah.
I
zoning.
understand that.
That's the problem with all of this tax classification zoning stuff. Neither one means anything to the other.
According to the state law, whatever's going on a piece of property prior to zoning is what's going on. And it's either, non-conforming or conforming is the way it's done. And tax classification has nothing to do with what is going on a piece of property. It says it right in the legislature.
I know, and if you wouldn't interrupt me every time I try to talk, I just said that the tax classification doesn't have anything to do with the zoning. I've said it.
Or what's going on a piece of property.
It only would make sense that it would be that way.
The next thing I gotta ask you
Just
about
look it up
is
in
my
the
water bill.
legislature, please.
Okay.
I want to hear you, I'm using 8,000 gallons of water in 2 weeks.
We can check that out
Well,
tomorrow.
That's why I'm
Yeah,
here.
take a look at it.
You be around tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be around.
I'll come down and we'll see if we can't figure out what you got going on.
I ain't got nothing running, that's, I can tell you that right now.
I got a leak detector already on it that'll tell me if it's running or not.
Well, I can, good.
It's,
That's
there's a leak detector built into the meter,
Well, I,
so we can make sure everything's off, and we can take a reading today and we can take a reading tomorrow, see if we can figure out what's going on.
You be headed to Carson City Thursday to get your hearing aids updated.
no, I ain't got no, I'm telling you. I'll bet you it ain't the same, I bet I don't use 8,000 gallons this month.
You got a water
Over.
softener?
Do I have one? Yes, I do, I've had one for years.
You could have a valve stuck on it that's running water to a drain all the time.
It's, no, I can hear it, I pay
It'd
attention.
be trickling, 8,000 gallons ain't a lot of water when
The
you got a
hell
little
it
leak.
ain't. You put 8,000 gallons in your house down there.
The party store had a leak in their toilet that, what did we put, 30,000 gallons of water through it in a month?
Well, I can
27.
imagine that.
The
I mean, if the damn
leak
thing was
really,
running steady and it wasn't shutting off, that makes sense, it'd be like putting your garden hose out there.
I don't know what happened, but
It
every
wasn't- it
leak I've
wasn't.
investigated in town hasn't been a problem with our reading equipment.
Well, I'm just telling you,
I'm just,
if I got a leak, I wanna know where it's at.
Okay, so John will come down tomorrow and
Okay,
take a look
that's
at it.
fine.
So, okay, perfect.
Petty money. Petty money.
Charlie, do you have anything, guys?
Just, the Purple House will be no longer there before the end of the year.
Okay.
I guess we gotta go to the township. Oh. I guess I gotta go to the township and get a,
It's being
permit.
demolished, is that?
Yeah, demolition permit. Otherwise, they don't take it off on your taxes if someone does do a demolition.
Okay,
So,
by the end of the year?
yes.
I think there's a permit, you're supposed to file the DEQ on that too.
You think
It's the
so?
same, it's the
Really?
intent to demolish, we have to go through it when we burn a house.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's different.
yeah, we're not
That's not
burning.
the same.
We're loading it up and hauling it out.
I realize that, but you're still creating dust with it, and if there's any,
I don't have to do that when I tear a house down.
you might.
I never have had to.
You might
Just an
still-
FYI, you might wanna look into
Might wanna
it,
look
just to
into
We
it.
cover
talked
I
to
don't,
them all the
I
time,
don't
we
care
didn't
if you do
ask
or
them.
not, but just to cover your butt,
Yeah,
I don't, if you don't want to, don't.
Keep my license.
we don't have to pick up trash from neighbors anymore that were there. That was terrible.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Fire report?
Already,
Yeah, that's it.
moving up faster than Doug used to.
I'm a little younger than Doug.
What's your name?
And,
Go
I
ahead.
got it turned down.
the month of August, we had 12 runs. And we participated and prayed in Ovid just this last weekend. And we end up receiving a plaque for the furthest travel. We participated in a mock bus accident up in Ithaca, big training exercise I had. We had 5 personnel go over to it, two apparatuses that assisted in that. We're standing by for all the home Fulton football games. And on the 18th of September, Ithaca is hosting a training that's pertaining to injuries on the football field. We got a couple people are gonna be attending that also.
September 18th?
Yep, it's a Tuesday. Trina Blair is gonna be attending firefighter 1 and 2 school this fall. Actually, the classes start at the end of the month here. And the County Training Association will be paying for the classes out of the firework money. And it's in Montcalm County, so they accept Washington County's firework monies to pay for that. The only cost to us will be the books, and those were supposed to have come in today, too, did you see them? They should be there anytime, and the bill's gonna be with that, I'm not sure how much it's gonna be, probably $150. We're having problems with the battery on the suction machine again. John's gonna be checking in on it, it won't take a charge.
Trying to figure out that, with that last time. Last time we sent that off and had it like rebuilt, new battery. The guy offered to sell us a new unit and give us a little bit of trade-in, and we decided to not do that,
Right.
correct?
Correct. I don't think it was a new unit, I think it was a used unit
Right.
he had.
That guy refurbishes unit, suction
Refurbished it.
units.
I checked it yesterday again. I noticed it Saturday when we had the rescue call down to Mr. Strax. It didn't cause a problem there, we didn't need it, but when I was going to put it back on the truck, I tested it. And it wasn't working, so I plugged it in. Checked it again yesterday, and it's still, it'll run if it's plugged in, but the battery's not taking a charge. So we're gonna have some type of expense to get that thing going again. And pump tests on both the engines are due again, so we'll take the $250, $300 for the truck. We'll be having those done probably within the next month. And that's all I've got.
John?
We've been doing some work out at the lagoon, working on the fence. Last couple of years, the fence has really deteriorated. The metal in some of the spots is just like rusting away. Just old fence from 1972. So we've been working on getting all the barbed wire out of there, and I think we're gonna put up one strand of barbed wire back up in place of the 2 on top of the woven wire fence. And there's a few sections of the woven wire fence. The longest one's about 150 feet. It's gonna need to be replaced. The fence is just rotted away. But there's a couple other small spots we'll have to patch also in the woven wire fence to kind of get that back into shape. The lead and copper sampling for 2018's been completed. The results were back. Everything came back as no lead was detected again. We changed 2 of the sampling sites, 2 sites that fit into the tier criteria better. I believe since I did the sampling, I found one more house that actually fits into the, as a tier 1 site that we were not using before. Currently, we only have 1 tier 1 site on our plan. We have to sample 5 locations. A tier 1 site is a house with copper plumbing that was built between 1983 and 1987. I believe I believe there are only to be 2 houses that were built in Perrington in that span. One is Jason's neighbor, Marty Hulbert, and the other one I believe is the house at 115 South Street. I haven't contacted them, but I believe that house was built in 1984 or 1985, right before the centennial in '87. In the future, that date's gonna move, and I don't know if they change it every year or it rotates newer, because homes that before 1983, they say they've already displaced any lead or most of the lead that could have possibly been in that lead plumbing the lead solder of the copper plumbing. We have no lead, no known lead in town. I think the next house that would rotate into that schedule would be Mrs. Vermeesh's house that was built in 1990 for the future, and that might pick us up to 3 tier 1 sites. Marty's house this was the first year we've used Marty's house. Up until this year, we've had no tier 1 sites. We basically used tier 3 sites or sites that were representative of most of the plumbing in the village. Just telling you all this because the state's changed a lot of regulations on the lead and copper testing in the last year. And next year, we won't have to test next year. We only test on a 3-year cycle. But this year, the changes were minimal compared to what the people that have to test next year will see. That's only because they didn't have enough time to implement them before the testing had to be done this year. So it'll be a few years of other people being guinea pigs on it before we'll have to do it again. But in this work, I have identified another house that I think will be a good testing site for us. By the year 2020, we have to have a baseline supply line inventory completed. That is a inspection of lines coming into people's houses to verify that there's no lead on that end, which will give us a fairly safe assessment that there's no lead on the other end. And those have to be a confirmed inspection. That needs to be done by 2020. By 2025, right now they have it drawn up to that they want a dig to take place at the curb stop to make sure there's not a lead gooseneck between the water main and the water shutoff.
Every house?
Every house. A lot of people are saying that that's not going to go through without some funding from somebody, EPA or something. They're estimating $300 to $400 to have a back truck come in, pop a hole at every house with a back truck, so you're not actually digging and then just confirming that it's copper and not lead and filling it back in. I hope with the information we have that we've never found any piece of lead, even if they do require some communities that have known lead, that we may be exempt from that. But if not, that's something they're talking for 2025. An actual verified dig inventory of what kind of metal and piping you have in the ground. The PFA testing that you've heard in the news about all the communities and everything, they did part of Gratiot County, not last week, but the week before. They ended up canceling ours, and they said they were going to call back last week and set up another date for doing that, but I haven't heard back from them, so I imagine that'll be real soon. I think there's only one other community other than us in Gratiot County that has not been tested yet. And most of the area around here, I haven't heard of actually Gratiot County, but most everybody's coming back under the limits. There's just been, they made a bigger screaming deal about it in the news when they do find it, making it seem like it's all over the place, but it's not quite as.
It's pretty much just airports, ain't it? Big airports.
Big airports and some manufacturing facilities. Paper, the biggest one lately has been a paper mill. Really contributed to some PFAs in the water source. The only other thing I have on my list is a sewer authority meeting to make sure everybody between the township and the village is all on the same page as far as how we do projects and how the bill's shared between the two.
Do you want to give them a call this week after the meeting? We'll talk about what dates I'm available and
Okay.
if we can schedule one after normal business hours. My preference.
I'm good with that.
I can do 5 o'clock at the township hall. That's about the earliest I can get there. So.
That's all I have on my list.
Has there been discrepancies with that?
Yeah. They tried to make a discrepancy a couple weeks ago. That's why we need make sure everybody's on the same page. Doug was able to get them straightened out with a phone call, I guess. I knew what they were doing wasn't right, but I didn't know how to tell them what was right when they were asking me questions about it, so.
Anything else? Nothing? Old business, zoning and planning commission. Oh, sorry, I knew she didn't sign. Do you have anything?
Not really, other than the fact that, on Thursday, I am attending a UB training, which is utility billing training, at DSNA. It is free to us, it's on my time, and I'm doing it for me. And then also I have, I'm signed up to do a financial management regional user group on October 11th. Which that is gonna be the general ledger, the accounts payable and receivables and other things that, so I'm signed, and that again is my own time and free to me. So just, I'm wanting to do more, learn more. And that's all I have for that
Sorry.
first sketch. No, that's all right. Probably have more of the audit, but we'll talk about that then.
Okay, sorry. Zoning and planning. We need to get this group together. We've been trying for 3 or 4 months now. I have 3 confirmed. I need 5 people. If we don't get enough, I think we're gonna have to go back and look at the start when we made it so that only village residents could be on this, and maybe open that up.
Who you got down now?
I still have, Dre is a yes, Tracy Failer is a yes, and Kurt Blair is a yes.
Rick Wilson's a yes.
Rick Wilson?
I didn't get to talk to Gene.
How long is this, you know what I'm saying, how long does the board last, forever?
Yeah, they won't meet every week, once it gets rolling, you get the plan into effect. I think you have to meet once a year,
yeah,
once
it'll be
every
minimal.
6 months
The startup is gonna be a lot to get it going,
to get rolling.
but once we get it going, but that will then in turn solve a lot of the issues that we're having with the ordinances and the zoning and the residential versus commercial and, yes,
You won't like me, but you go.
that's okay.
No, what's different?
Planning commission
fine.
will never be gone.
Yeah, you won't have to sit on it forever, it'll always be.
No, I know that,
It will always
I know
be
that.
here once it's created.
I know that.
But the first part of it is a monster undertaking, that master plan and everything else.
Go blank tape.
When you get your 5 people together, you need to pick a chairman that'll get something done, because that'll be the whole, she's not on it.
She's
I
not
thought
on it.
she is
No,
on it.
her daughter.
Oh, her daughter can do that.
Okay.
So, okay, so I have then, I have Dre,
She's
Jean,
smarter.
Well, hey,
Tracy, Kurt, and Rick Wilson, so that'll give us our 5, which is what we needed for the minimum number. So, we will contact them and try to schedule like a just informational meeting between the 5 of them. I'll probably show up and Doug will show up just to get you guys started and let you know. I'll be able to pass on all the paperwork to you, I'm just gonna sit on the desk, so we can get it going. Good, thank you for that. FOIA policy. Another item we need to get completed. It's been a couple months ago that you guys got this Village of PERRINTON FOIA policy. Need to get that approved. The policy and the request form. I was able to go out to the township's website, or Julie was, it got us a copy. We're gonna create our own little fee schedule on how that's gonna work, but we need to get the policy adopted.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the FOIA policy that we have in front of us.
Now, 1 second.
Motion by Jason, supported by Eric. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. The other thing we tabled last month was the gazebo. We had talked about doing some fixing to it. It became over budget. We need to decide where we're going with that because it's just starting to deteriorate even worse. I mean, every time John goes down there, the problem with the gazebo, it's worse. So I don't know how we wanna address that or what you guys wanna do.
Well, I think we all kind of decided we wasn't gonna put any more money into it. It's just beating a dead horse to death. So, take it down, do we let it fall down?
Well,
We don't dare let it fall, it's a liability.
I'm just worried,
It's a
that's what I'm worried
liability.
about, it's a liability to the village
Yeah.
that's continuing to deteriorate and, you know, people getting in there and someone getting injured.
You try to find a buyer?
Well, that
Try.
one gal said she wanted to buy it.
Karen Helms,
Mm,
she wanted it.
What, do we wanna sell it? I mean, is there any liability on our part if we
Well,
sell it to someone, or?
We'd have to have them sign a waiver,
Release form.
releasing us of liability on it. Be
So
her
if she-
expense and everything to move it.
Yeah, I was gonna say she'd have to
Her expense
Her
to
expense, yeah.
move it, and
Mm-hmm.
give her a deadline on how long she has to get it out there and.
I'd say contact her, and see if she's still interested, or
wanna
have John
contact
take
her,
the
or do you wanna,
backhoe
like,
to it.
Advertise for bids, set a date to open them, I don't mean, let her know we might be doing that, or just
I
give her
think
the
I
option.
think legally we have to open it for bids.
And let her know that we're
And
gonna
she
open
can
it.
read that if she wants to.
Mhm. Do a sealed bid, at the, set a date and time to open those.
Yep.
Motion on that, or is it just agreeance to?
Do I need a motion for that? Okay, yes, I need a motion to, and do we place that in the paper, in the Herald, like we would do everything else?
I would.
Or we just post it in
Might get a little
town?
more broader interest.
Yeah, you can place it wherever you want to, you're not required to. I would definitely advertise it here, as much as you could possibly
Right.
advertise it here.
We
And
can
go outside if you want to.
put one up at the, party store, at the, on the door here, in the post office. Maybe see if,
You may want,
Holly will put one up at the salon,
yeah, you may want to,
at the bar, yeah,
you may want to look at your general law village book.
okay,
There are some stipulations for the sale of village property, so.
okay,
Gas station would be a good one if you could put it up.
okay.
I would definitely check that out too, because there are some stipulations when it comes to selling village property.
Okay.
I definitely make a motion on it
Is it village?
and get it started.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the community paid for it.
It's still.
It's still Okay, I will look that up and make sure we're in compliance with, the law. In the meantime, if someone wants to make a motion to go
I'll
ahead
make
and,
a motion to go ahead and list that for a private, or a sealed bid, as long as the, law requires us to do it.
I'll second it.
okay, motion by Jason, second by Kathy. All in favor? Opposed?
You may have to have a public hearing on that,
Okay, yeah, I'll read up on that, and,
and schedule it before the next council meeting.
okay.
Last time we had a public hearing on that gazebo, I left that meeting 20 pounds later.
Yeah, well,
That's right, you let it
you
on.
can sit next to me at the next one too.
It wasn't Bertie.
No, it wasn't pretty.
I wasn't even the mayor then.
Naming of the park, we had talked last month about, naming the park after Don Andrews, since he, donated most of the funds to, get the equipment in there. So, wanted to wait off. I talked to Mary, it's Don D. Andrews is how she would like to have it. We wanted to make sure we had the correct name, how she wanted it on the plaque or whatever we decided to put up. So we'll have to do a resolution for that. So if someone wants to make a motion to do that, Julie and I will get that going.
Say we make a resolution to name it Don D. Andrews Park.
Park or Memorial Park?
Don D. Andrews Village,
Memorial Park?
Village Memorial Park.
What's the name of the ball diamond?
Mark Daniels.
Mark
Memorial.
Daniels
Mark
Memorial.
Memorial Park.
Memorial Field.
Yeah,
Memorial.
Field,
Did I do them the same way?
Yeah.
Yep.
So Don D. Andrews.
Memorial
Memorial
Park.
Park.
Okay. I'm sorry, that was, motion by Bob,
I'll second it.
second by Jason. All,
Yep.
yeah, all in favor? Sorry. Opposed? Julie and I will do that resolution and we'll look into getting some type of plaque to put up on there, so that's listed. The audit is complete, finally. The audit is complete, we've got the checkbooks all balanced, everything is done. They will be here at the October meeting to go over the booklet that they give us every year to explain that all to you guys, but we had to have it done, so that is completed. Just to give you an outline, because this kind of coincides with the new business, the SPNT audit prep. By the time we finished, so far we've spent $12,750 on the audit, not including approximately 2 hours worth of services to get the checkbook in order. 6,000 of that was for Roseland and Prestige for the audit. The remainder was to SKMT and another auditing firm to come in and get that going. So we doubled that price this year. And with that being said, you all received the proposal from SKMT in reference to them coming in and doing some of the auditing functions for us throughout the year. It would have been last month you received this. I don't know if anyone bought it with them. Do you want me to make you a copy?
No, I got it at home.
Okay. They are offering 2 levels of service. I don't know which one you guys are thinking you want to go with, or what your thoughts are. Yeah, go ahead.
I think with the title, SKT Audit Prep's kind of misleading. It's really not a prep for the audit.
Oh, yeah.
It's annual bookkeeping for the year in 2 different styles. So it's not like somebody comes in shortly before the audit and preps or something like that. It's 2 different levels of bookkeeping for the village, which in turn obviously will make the audit easier, but it's really not.
Sorry, the
What they're
audit prep
gonna-
is what they did this year
Yeah,
for us.
yeah, to really be called the audit prep really isn't accurate with it right now, with what they're planning on doing then. Make it sound short term, but it's really long term.
They give us all these, prices per hourly rates per person here. Do they know how many hours that was gonna take?
No, they can't tell us how many hours. I've not ever been told. Essentially, what they would do is, like the general ledger, they would handle, most of the stuff with that. And Julie would be left to still be in the office, to write checks, pay bills. She would do that supportive portion of it still. She would be there, still do the money, the maintenance deposits, keep the checkbook up to date. They would be, it's my understanding they would be doing just the general ledger portion of it, the audit entries for line items.
And how often do they come in to do that? Once a
I
week,
believe we
once a
can
month?
send it to them. But I'm gonna let Doug speak, cause he's way more familiar.
I think you, I think that, first of all, I'd like to say that SK&T isn't the only company that'll do this. So, if they don't always get leery with you talk about hourly rates, I mean, they get paid big bucks an hour, depending on who touches that. One that I talked to, other than them, there was 2 or 3, but, you know, was giving dollar figures of how much it would cost per month. I don't remember what SK&T has said now, but one was like a quarterly plan or something like that. One's a monthly plan. But there are 2 or 3 companies that do that. Roseland and Prestige will do that, but won't do the audit. At the same time, they will not do bookkeeping in the audit at the same time. They have a branch that does that. SK&T has a branch that does that. And then there's a company, I don't remember the name of, that specifically has made their niche just doing that. They don't do audits, they don't do anything but that. They just do bookkeeping for municipalities. So, I think, you know, obviously, you guys decide. I think at this point you would kind of decide maybe what you want to do, but I would get those bids from those other companies. And just my personal thoughts on it would be that if Roseland Prestige could convince you that they can do that bookwork and do it well and not do the audit, then I'd switch back and do SK&T, do the audit, and let Roseland do the bookwork. That obviously entirely, I'm just familiar with all the people, you know, but there is a company out there that's all they do. They've made their whole niche just doing, you know, there's a lot of accounting companies that'll do municipal bookwork, but they do everything else too. They do audits, they do everything. These guys just, and I get, actually, Roseland, the Roseland company was the one that told me about them.
I can't remember the name, it's in the office.
Yeah, I don't remember what the name
What was
is.
that?
I would,
Overview stroke.
I'd investigate 2 or 3 options before you decide on who you wanted to do it. I certainly would decide how you want to do it. You know, if you want to do it like, you know, that's stated in there, quarterly or monthly or, I would get somebody to just get their hands in it and run it.
So we can work on getting bids for, the bookwork. Did you wanna look into, quarterly or monthly, or?
Yeah, 'cause I think you're gonna have to decide that before you can get an accurate bid from somebody. Or you save them time, they don't have to bid it both ways.
Right.
I'd say quarterly,
That's what I was gonna say.
Like monthly would be a little over.
yeah.
Okay.
I think, well, I think you really need to have a big, as a council, I think you need to have a really big discussion on that. I think everybody has to understand everything as well as they can bookwork wise for the village. That's basically all I'm gonna say, but, I would do it monthly. I'll just throw it in there and leave it alone. You want it as accurate as you can get, and there won't be any indiscrepancies. You won't have to fix it every quarter. It'll always be accurate. So, that's just my 2 cents.
Well, I'd get bids and see.
Yeah, do you think it would be beneficial to maybe see if maybe Jim could just come explain, like, what that would entail? So that everyone here kinda has a better understanding?
I'd have them all show up.
Okay.
Whoever gives you a bid, don't have, you know.
Explain them.
Right.
You don't wanna have them all show up on one night, but
It's a good idea.
Right,
you certainly could have
so So they can kind of just explain the process to all of us who don't do accounting work, who can understand what Julie's having to go through and trying to make sure those line items are correct and what she's having to make changes to, so we kind of have some idea too. Because we don't do that, I mean, on a daily basis, so. Okay, we will work on getting those. Halloween hours,
6 to 7:30 is fine with me.
okay.
That's a good time.
Is everyone give us 6 to 7:30 still? You still planning on doing hot dogs and cider?
Yep.
Okay. Do I need a motion for that, 6 to 7:30? Probably wouldn't
Yeah,
hurt.
go ahead.
Yeah, let's do it, just to
Get
be
it so
sure.
you got it recorded in a minute.
Okay. I need a motion on the Halloween hours, 6 to 7:30 PM.
I make a motion in Halloween hours 6 to 7:30.
Motion by Kathy,
I'll second it.
second by Jerry Lou. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion passes. During the audit, it was brought to our attention, and maybe I'll just let Julie explain this, it's about John's contract, it didn't get signed, correct? Is that all we're missing, is just signatures on this?
Yep.
So, I don't know if you wanna start that way, everyone just needs to sign, it expires in November, but,
That was, not to, before everybody jumps on that and signs it, was that been recorded anywhere that that's been approved? Like 2 or 3 months ago when we talked about that, when John kept searching for the insurance and was going through that. And then we had the meeting and
I remember that.
the insurance worked out for John in a different direction, so we left the contract the same. Is that recorded in the minutes someplace that that was approved that night?
it's my understanding that it was.
If it is not, or you're not sure it's not,
Should we pull it?
you should vote to approve it and then sign it.
Okay. That's just.
I think I'm not positive, I think it was too, but I'm not
I think so,
positive.
too.
Okay, so let's just cover our bases just to make sure.
I'll make a motion, we approve Jim's contract.
I'll second.
Let me throw another wrench in the work. Are you gonna date it back to November, or you gonna backdate it to November and back at that approval date, or does it work better for you to have it done now?
It don't matter to me.
We'll be renegotiated in November, so I think we should backdate it.
Well, if you don't, now if you date it, if it's gonna be an annual contract and you date it that it's approved today.
Well, I think we need to discuss some items in it though, before we renew it in November.
But if you don't, that's what I'm saying, if
He's
you're
saying
gonna
you
approve
should-
it and backdate it to November,
Yep.
if you're gonna do that, then you're fine, you'll redo it again in November, but if you approve it now and put this date on it, you're not gonna do it till a year from now.
Right, I think we need to backdate it.
There you go. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve John's contract backdated to last November.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Jason, second.
Well, the contract's the same, so worded that it's retroactive to November, whatever, the 1st of November or the end of November is the proper term for it.
Okay, second by Eric, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So now everyone will sign it. It does expire November 1st, 2018. So we'll renegotiate a few of the items in November. We need to look at a couple things. We'll do that. Why everyone's signing that? Sewer rates go up October 1st, $4. That'll be our annual increase.
here next month bitching about that.
No.
So effective 10/1, senior rate will be $79 and the regular,
November 1st on your date, is that supposed to be on all of them now?
because we're backdating it to November, that's what
Okay.
they just said. $80 for the regular sewer bill, then anything above and beyond the water usage will be added to that. So just so everyone knows, in case someone says something, this is the first increase since we raised it last time, so
$4
I'm
more?
sure we're gonna
That
hear
was
some.
the scheduling thing that we approved.
Right,
There you
through
go.
2025, so, yeah,
You'll have 3 more years of that.
yep.
If you're bringing anything else up, you don't got nothing on the agenda.
Is that October first?
Yes.
Your next bill will be, right,
Yep, $4.
I was wondering, how long
That's senior discount.
is your helper
Yep.
staying on to
Senior
help?
discount?
Do we have a
Yeah,
time limit
$79.
or?
Yep.
instead of
We
$75.
have to discuss
We
that.
didn't, yeah, we didn't set a time limit. He's still working out great for you,
Yeah,
isn't he?
He is.
I see him out
He
there
does a lot of
every morning when I
mowing,
leave at 6:30.
cleans up the streets every morning. He's been doing a lot of the work on the fence out of the
Yeah,
window.
that's Doug.
Yeah, I noticed he's been doing a lot of
Hey
work.
Doug,
Yes, sir.
Eric was on the council back in 17 when we were approving this contract. Can you sign that or what?
You can sign it now.
Date it for now or date it for 17?
Well, you have to,
Well,
I think you just make the,
117.
you can date that today, you just make it effective and retroactive back to November 1 last year. He's on the council now that approved it, so.
That's
And
all I,
Kendra, you
Yeah.
should sign that in the spot where I would normally sign it and just put acting beside it or whatever.
okay. Okay. That's all I have. Does anyone else have anything else?
Yep.
Okay.
This trailer on the Eller Street down there,
Van Gilder's old place?
we need to do something with that.
That's dangerous.
That's
Keep-
been
parts
going
keep
on
falling.
way too long.
The wind blows and parts keep falling down. Flies over to the neighbor's house,
That's, yeah, they pulled that deck away from the front, it just went,
down it went.
Went down, I
yeah,
saw
they've
that.
been going at that all summer.
It's been way too long.
Yeah, it's a mess.
That is a mess. And Snyder's building too, half of
I
that
see
fell
that
down,
fell
that
down.
windstorm scared crap out of me, I was in my backyard, and that come down.
How long goes that?
That come down about 3 weeks
I was
ago.
gonna say 3 weeks.
3 weeks ago, that one, the north wall come crashing down.
Is there a time frame that's gotta be laying there before they pick it up, before we can send them a letter? 30 days or something like that?
No, I don't know if there's a time frame, like a specific date. We'll look
Is
into
he-
it, and if we can, we'll try to make contact
Is he
with them at
around
least.
there at all?
Davey?
Mhm.
Seen him there the other day, he's loading up the truck, heading out on the road.
Why don't you just have John ask him what he plans on doing with it first? That work for you?
You wanna stop it,
I'm nobody, but
go to the place too, and see what their time
Sure.
frame is looking like?
Yeah, I'll let him know.
Okay.
people get, I do the
Sometime
same,
before the snow starts flying.
I do the same thing with that people that
I
are,
did neighbor.
Yeah, I just said, ask if you would stop down and just check on that one too, and see if they can get
Yeah.
a time frame.
it's always better if you can talk to somebody before you start shucking out letters. Sometimes you can't, but.
Yeah,
Who owns that?
People in the red house, or the one they just sided the house,
So
through
the
the gray.
gray.
That's just the beginning of the paper trail.
Yeah, that sounds fine. Anything else, Bob?
And the dogs with leashes. Donnie's dog come out after a little kid here a couple weeks ago and chased him, and he tripped and fell and tore his knees all up and his elbows. Said something to her, and she just said, well, if the kid wanted to run, my dog wouldn't chase him. Well, the dog, it's
When
just
the
a little
child's
ankle
afraid, they
biter.
run.
But yeah, something, that's, yeah,
She was sent a letter that day,
was she?
cause I called her, I texted Kendra and asked her if we could send it.
Okay.
If she has she done anything about it? I don't know, because I don't live here in town, so.
Yeah, some little kid was walking down the sidewalk and his ankle biter come out after him, and he took off running because he'd had a scar from being bit by a different dog, so he scared the dog.
So scary.
Tori took him home to live down the apartments, some little kid, I don't know who he was, so.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. I talked about that, so we'll touch
Oh.
base afterwards. Anything else, Bob?
Nope.
Make motion adjourned.
Motion by Jason,
I'll second it.
second Jerry Lou.
Should the zoning committee people come to a meeting so they could
Well, I
like,
think we're gonna
have
have
a
to,
place to form?
yeah, we're gonna have to
or-
schedule something between all 5 of them. And then we'll bring them in here and have Doug come in. And I'll come in, we'll just get the paperwork, get them started and then.
Well, Dre's been gonna come in for the last 3 times, but I'm like, well, welcome, we haven't got that far yet. So.
Oh, we were working on names, we couldn't get enough people,
Yeah.
so,
Gonna be, those 5 people are taking on a
huge,
big job.
it is gonna be huge, yeah.
He's got the shoulders.
You never made.
Well, and we need someone strong who can,
Keep
you know,
going, you're gonna scare Gene
we
off.
need someone who
Mary
can
will
run
keep
it.
you propped up.
Well, he's already done, he verbally agreed, so he's.
You're in.